What's going on? It's your man, Tim Jackson, Mr. Purpose on Demand. This is the No More OGs podcast. I'm your host. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. I got the shades on, so I'm going to be real shady during this episode. But check this out. Do me a favor. Like, follow, subscribe, share this content. You guys, we are the only podcast out there having the conversation that we're having with the people that we're speaking with, because we got to recreate this culture. We have to tear this culture completely down and build it up, or actually we have to abandon that old culture and create our new culture. So that's why you're here and that's why I'm here. But without further ado, I want to bring on somebody. This is a young lady that I met at Skyline High School. I want to say it was 4 to 5 years ago.
Yeah.
My company used to do a lot of stuff at Skyline. I was the site-based decision-making chair at Skyline, so I was over the budget committee, and I had an opportunity to speak at a couple of events there, and I met a young lady, and she just stood out. Her and a few other people stood out, and I'll never forget telling my wife, I said, if I have a daughter, I want my daughter to be like that little girl right there, because she just is just full of light. She knew what she wanted. I mean, I think you were a junior when I met you. Mm-hmm. You knew exactly what you wanted out of life. You were just kind of stood apart. So you all, I want to introduce to some and present to others my friend, my little daughter, Miss Francesca Jennings. What's going on?
Hey, happy to be here, Tim.
My publicist. So listen, you know what? I'm really big with empowering the youth, if you will. And so definitely, even with our mentoring program, Real Youth Mentoring, you know, I understand why it's so important for people like me, you know, who's getting up there in age. It's important for us to reach back to the youth and say, all right, you guys, here's the cheat code to everything. Don't do this, don't do that, or avoid this, avoid that. I try not to say don't, because it seems like when you tell someone don't do something, they're like, oh shit, let me go do it, right? But here's how to avoid the mistakes. And you know, I did a lot of volunteering at Frank Guzik. I was a volunteer of the year there, and then as well as Skyline, I did a lot of volunteering up there, and I met a lot of great kids. But I remember meeting you back in, I think that was 2017 or 18.
Yep, 2017, because I was 16.
You were 16 years old. You were a junior, right?
I was going into my junior year.
Yeah.
So you met me in the spring of my sophomore year.
Was that at the Honor Society event, or what was we at?
I actually don't remember, but I know it was some type of event where we reached out to our community leaders.
Yeah,
something of that sort.
Some of that sort, and I remember I was making you came and you was like, "Hi, I'm Francesca, and these are my goals, and I want to do this, and I want to do that," and I was just like, "Hey, she knows what she wanted." It was you and a couple other guys, and then I want to say I saw you at the sports banquet. It was a banquet as well.
Yeah.
That I spoke at. But my thing is this, you know, when it comes to our youth, when it comes to our young adults, because you're a woman, you're 21 years old, mm-hmm. You're going into your senior year of college now.
It was junior spring.
Junior spring, yeah. Right? And I've watched the trajectory of you and some of the others who graduated with you, and what I will say is this: I'm very proud of you know, what you're doing and who you're becoming, and more importantly, I can't wait to see who you become in the end. But I want to have a conversation with you because you're part of that Generation Z.
Oh, yeah.
And y'all Generation Z kids, man, y'all different, because y'all always say Generation Z, y'all parents are the get it out the mud parents, yeah. Right? The parents that didn't necessarily have a lot of shit or struggled a lot. Mm-hmm. And so they vowed not to put their kids in a position where they would have to struggle. And I think that this is a very interesting situation, because it's great that you don't want your kids to struggle, but I also, Francesca, so I put the shades on, be shady. I also say that Generation Z, if they're not careful, they gonna be the soft ass, bitch ass generation. I'm gonna tell you why. I say that.
You gotta explain it.
because your parents got it out the mud.
Okay.
You're not having to struggle. So like me, I'm the same age as your mom. Mm-hmm. And my sister falls into that age group. We didn't struggle, but we worked our asses off to make sure that we never would have to struggle. Like, we saw struggle, if that makes any sense, yeah. Right? We did do without in different periods of our lives. But even me and my sister, we had the mentality, like, our kids are going to never have to worry. And what happens is, that generation, like I'm a millennial, right? Mm-hmm. I think my sister's Generation X, right?
Okay.
And so, like, that generation is creating a bunch of kids, in my opinion, and you tell me if I'm wrong, that are hella entitled, right? Because y'all haven't really experienced a lot of shit. And the ones that aren't entitled, the ones that understand the hustle, always say y'all are going to be the billionaires of the future. Like, what, am I tripping?
I feel like Generation Z is more of a trailblazing type of generation. And when I say that, I mean, like, we're starting legacies. We are teaching our parents how to do stuff.
Ooh.
Yeah. Seriously.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So bring that back in.
Okay.
Because y'all have access to something that we didn't have access to. Like, my parents didn't have access to technology. Mm-hmm. I got on the internet like my freshman year in high school, you know, and then you guys were born into technology. Mm-hmm. So one thing I love about y'all generation is y'all ain't scared of shit.
Risk takers.
Y'all are the biggest risk takers in the world. But what I also notice is, not you specifically, but a lot of people within your generation, while you take a lot of risk, there's this, I don't want to say if it's a fear of failure, but there's this fear not to look perfect. Does that make sense?
Not to look perfect?
Or not to look like, oh, I'm sorry. There's this desire to look perfect.
Right.
Like, everything has to be perfect. You got to look a certain way. You got to dress. You got to come off a certain way. Like, if you look like you're failing, then y'all just disappear and then come back when you win it again. And then you said something like, well, what do you think about that? And then we would go into the teaching our parents.
When it comes to perfection, I do agree with that. I feel like we're more of our generation, you know, we want to make sure we got it all together.
Yeah.
We take our L's in silence.
Man, like super silent, like go away for a while. And we come
back popping stuff. We back on top like nothing ever happened. So I do feel like we are pretty, you know, quiet about our L's, and, you know, then we bounce back and, you know, and do it ourselves.
Now, let me ask you something, and I want to go back to the whole, you know, teaching our parents before we do that.
Okay.
Do you think that that's necessarily, do you think that's a good thing that you take your L's in silence?
Yeah. I think people come with their own intensives and motives, so I think it's best to, you know, not, like, let's just say, for example, I lost $5,000 invested in something. And if I made that public, it's like, oh, I can probably get her to do $2,000 and invest this and that. And it's a fake corporation or something like that. So I think it's very important to take your L's in silence, because, you know, you may welcome unwanted guests who just, you know, don't have the right intentions for you.
I feel that. I feel that. Now, first things first, the fact that you lost that kind of money before you even turned 21 is amazing to me, right? Mm-hmm. Because when I was 18 years old, between the ages of 18, 19, 20, I bought like a new car every year. I was out there trying to stunt on niggas and flex and shit. And I made good money because I was in the military.
Yeah.
But that shit, I spent so much of it. And then when I remember talking to you one day and you were like, yeah, I had this investment and it didn't work out. And I was like, me and my wife were like, how much was the investment? You told us, and we were like, how old are you? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I was 20, dude.
You were 20 years old when you invested into someone's company, and it didn't materialize, and that's fine. But what I see a lot oftentimes is that once we fail, or once people fail, like especially at your age group, it's like y'all feel like it's a death sentence. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and then it's like, well, let me go away until I'm winning again. And that's the one thing about y'all generation that I just be like, I wish y'all would fail a little bit more and fail often, because in our generation, you know, we had I call us the bully generation, right? Y'all don't have bullying. Bullying, you get suspended for bullying somebody these days, but in my day, we just called the scoring on each other. Like, you come to school, you got some raggedy shoes on, they gonna fire your ass up. You know, what are those? You got some, you got boogers in your nose, they gonna fire you up. Like, that was how most of us corrected our behaviors as people. But y'all generation, you know, y'all weren't allowed to do that, or the consequences were more grave. And so I feel like y'all a little bit softer, but y'all a little bit wiser. My mom would call it weaker and wiser, right? But I wanted to ask you something. You're not getting away from this. You said you feel like y'all are the generation that are raising your parents. I mean,
not raising,
teaching your parents.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like me personally and in my friend group, we're all the same age, 20 through 22. So I feel like when I say like we're teaching our parents I feel like we're taught like the rat race in life. You know, go to school, get a good job, retire at this age, boom. That's life. Vacate if you live long enough. You know, get on a retirement plan, 401k. that stuff. But I feel like our age is finding loopholes and how to get there shorter. And
your age group can smell the bullshit.
Pretty much.
Y'all, one thing I love about y'all is that y'all ain't no punks, right? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Y'all, I say y'all soft and can be soft, but y'all ain't no punks. Y'all call shit out. And see, I was at last, like my mother's age group was when you graduate, you get you a good job.
Yeah.
You work that good job for 30 or 40 years, you retire and you live off your pension. That's not the case anymore, right?
Nope.
It start ending in my generation. It won't even be an idea for your generation.
Yeah, we writing
right?
checks this time. We not taking no checks.
Yeah, y'all writing checks, which I love because I'm looking at one thing I love about the young people now is that I love when I see 21, 22, 23-year-olds become millionaires. Now, I hate when I see them spending frivolously to like let everybody know they're a millionaire, but the mindset of, hey, I took that chance and went out there and got it. I love that. But let's park real quick because you said, you know, we're teaching our parents how to do certain things, and your parents fall into my age group or a little bit older, right? And I would like to think they're a lot more receptive than my parents were, because like my mom and my dad, they don't want to hear that shit. Like, you go, you get you a good job, you working for 30 years, you buy your gold watch, you know, they get you a gold watch when you retire, and then you walk into the sunset. That's how they think. Yeah. I cannot tell my mother or get my mother to change her mind on shit. I love my mom. She's amazing, but she ain't changing her mind. Do you feel like your parents are receptive to some of the feedback that you're giving them, specifically when it comes to investing, purchasing real estate, getting your money right? Because you're very smart with money.
Yeah, so I do feel like my mom is very open-minded when it comes to things that I want to invest in. I actually can't even remember a time she was a little hesitant in something that I was in. I don't know if it's just a trust in me or what, but she's always open to it. I'm trying to think. I think the only thing she don't play about is school. You getting you a degree, no matter what.
She wants you to have a degree.
Yeah.
And a lot of people talk down on degrees. I have 3 degrees. I haven't made any money off of any of them, right? But a degree is discipline. A degree teaches you how to complete something, right? My goal was always to own a business, and I went back to school late, and I already had a business. Mine was more of a, let me check this off on my box. I actually tried to get a job with one of my degrees, and they wouldn't hire me because it was one of those jobs where you had to know certain people to get in. It was very clandestine, a lot of gatekeepers. But I think if you get a degree in something like what you're working on, specifically what you're working on now, because of where the world is going, it will definitely benefit you long term. And there's nothing wrong with having a degree that's going to produce you a nice paying job. But people in my generation, and even some of the people in your generation, are preaching, don't have a job, work for yourself. But that's not realistic. Yeah. Like, everybody can't own a business, and some jobs are good jobs. They pay great money. You just have to spend your money the right way. What do you think?
Absolutely. When it comes to, hold on, I kind of forgot. What were we diving into?
We were talking about degrees? The degrees. Like, why you think it's important to have a degree?
I feel like it's really the experience in college overall. Degrees, I would say they're essential because of the people that you meet, the organizations you're in. There may be an opportunity for you to study abroad. You get to go to places that you've never been before.
Ooh, traveling.
Meet different people. You may have a corporation that's offering you $100K a year to work, accounting in India. I don't know. So it's just really opening door of opportunities and not limiting yourself. Because if you were to just say, hey, forget a degree, I'm going to stay in the city that I'm in, and you're not going to be bigger than nothing because you're just going to be in the same city that you're in, doing the same thing. I just feel like it opens more doors. And not saying you can't make it in your own city, but when I went to school in a different environment, it blew my mind. I was in a culture shock, first of all.
Man.
I go to a PWI, so I was in a culture shock, and just learning, I don't want to say their culture, but their
no, say it. You know what? Listen. A lot of times we tiptoe around things because we want to be politically correct.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is that that's not the culture you grew up in.
Yeah.
So like me and my wife, she grew up in South Dallas, Pleasant Grove, and then moved to Lancaster, right? Okay. So all she saw was black people, her whole life, right? So her mind was, she thought that Dallas was a black city. Dallas is a black city. And then once she got with me and started, selling real estate, and then once I got on the zoning commission, she was like, Tim, Dallas is not a black city. Like, all the black people live south of I-30, and then when you go north of I-30, there's hardly no black people up there. Like, we only make up 10% of the population. Like, there's like not a lot of black restaurants here that like nothing caters to black people in Dallas, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, you're getting it now. It's because you're getting out of your environment. You're starting to see something different. And I don't think people understand the benefit of just literally leaving, even if it's just moving to the other side of town.
Definitely. You gotta like step out, and that's a part of being a risk taker. You know, it may be uncomfortable for a while, but guess what? You can go back at any time and have a different perspective on where you were.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing.
You know, I got to go to the military. I signed up for the military when I was 17 years old. I was at Skyline. They came to the student center my senior year. I knew I wasn't going to college. I had no desire whatsoever to go to college because I hated high school, right? Signed up when I was 17 years old, and I went off the basic training. I'll never forget, I got stationed in Alaska, Anchorage, Alaska. Now, as we sit here today, it's damn 10 degrees outside, and it reminds me of when I was in Anchorage, right? My wife was like, oh, put on a jacket or a hat. I'm like, I got this, right? But going up there, just the little subtle things, like people didn't starch their pants. Like, I was the only person that had creases in my pants. Like, you could spot a Texas person a mile away because we was creased up with polo boots on, right? But we looked like idiots to everybody else because we looked like some country niggas to everybody else because people were like, I'll never forget. You remember those shell toe polo boots?
Yeah.
So everywhere else, those are snowshoes, like where there's snow.
Oh, snap.
That's only popular in the South. So I go to the club and I got on my shell toes, and I'll never forget one of my friends like, why are you wearing snow boots to the club? Like, they start rolling.
Oh my goodness.
They start clapping the shit out of me. But then as I'm at the club with my starched jeans on and my shell toe polo, I look across the dance floor and there was another nigga who was dressed just like me.
So y'all know y'all was from the same place.
He was dressed just like me, man. Like, he had on a polo shirt, starch jeans. You could barely move in them. I walked up to him. I said, "Nigga, what part of Texas are you from?" Because no one else is dressed. He said, "I'm from Houston." I was like, "Oh, I'm from Dallas." You know, Houston and Dallas folks. You know, we typically don't fool with each other, but when you out of town and it's a Texas thing, it's like, "Oh, we dap each other." We start laughing, but even the way you dress, the way you carry yourself, the words you say, things that you don't say, things that you don't wear, it'll make you realize that there's so much more of a world outside of where you came from. And you said you got down to the PWI. For those who don't know what that means, that's a primarily white institution, right? Predominantly white institution, right?
Yeah.
Which is 99% of the colleges in the United States, right?
Hey.
But what was the first thing you learned when you got down there? Because I've been following your journey since you got to college. Like, what were some things that stood out? The
biggest thing that honestly stood out to me was, you know, I was a sneakerhead in Skyline. I had almost the newest J's, almost at least every month. I started wearing Target clothes, and Target clothes are fresh. I never thought.
Target.
That's what we gotta call it.
I'm going to Target as soon as I leave here.
Target has everything. I don't even think I actually looked at a Nike sweatsuit or tried to find some shoes. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I like shoes here and there, but it's not a big thing. I'm usually wearing Crocs to class. I have more dress shoes than I have ever had. I'm worried because what I notice is that I'm always getting invited to galas, banquets, or some type of ceremony. And so my wardrobe started to change. And so I realized the biggest thing was just wardrobe to me. It just didn't matter. You didn't know this person could be wearing Converses with a plain white tee from Family Dollar with some Target shorts. And, you know, he could be a huge investor in something.
They're worth millions.
Millions.
And it's like, you know, it's like that term, fresh to death. We've all heard that, right? But words have meanings.
They do.
And as a kid growing up, I always wanted to be fresh to death. I always wanted to be fly, right? But case in point, when I came to speak at your college.
Okay.
I came to speak at your college. And when I got down there, I said, I'm going to go buy me some pants, some jeans when I get down there. I always did. I don't know what that is with me when I travel. I don't like to pack clothes. I just buy clothes, right? And so I get down there. I run up to the outlet mall. and I walked into I want to say like it was either a Polo store or True Religion, or I think it was a True Religion store.
Okay. Yeah, because it's a premium outlet.
All right, it's a premium outlet, right? And I'll never forget. And I spoke to you all about this. I had on some Jordans. I had on the retro Jordans, and then I had on my Rolex watch. And when I walked in the door, the black kid was like, "Man, I love your shoes, bro. Oh, those are so clean. Yada yada yada." I was like, "Thanks, man. I appreciate that." When I got back to the dressing room, it was a manager back there. I think it was a general manager. He says, "That's a really nice watch."
Yeah.
He didn't even give a fuck about them shoes, right? And even when I got to the school, they were, "Oh, I love you," because I spoke to the black kids. "I love your shoes. I love your shoes. I love your shoes." And I said, "How many of you all noticed my watch?" Nobody noticed my watch. The watch was worth, God,
more than the shoes.
almost 100 times more than the shoes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, not even trying to be funny.
No, seriously.
And has gained value since I purchased it. But we wanted to be fresh to that so much that we would spend all of our money. I remember people used to skip school to go buy the new Jordans. $200 Jordans.
I was one of those people.
Using one of them people. And ain't nothing wrong with that. But you talk about that because when you have these conversations with our people, it's like they try to guilt you or shame you into thinking that you changing up or you switching up when all you trying to do is just, hey, I'm trying to get some access, man. Like, I want to get access to the money, because how am I going to change my community by staying here and not being around people who know how to change the community, if that makes any sense, right? So I'm with you on that. I always tell the story about how one of my mentors, he owned a real estate company.
Yeah.
And owned hundreds of properties. And when I met him, he drove a 97 or 98 Lexus.
Oh, yeah.
And he used to dress like Walmart. He wasn't even Target. He was Walmart. I saw him, and he would take his Walmart clothes to the cleaners, right? And so then I saw him at the cleaners, I met him in 2004. I saw him at the cleaners in 2011, and I was in a new Lexus, and he was in that same Lexus, wearing them same clothes. And he said, the first thing he said to me was, "Hey, Tim, I see you bought a new car." And I thought that was the shadiest shit in the world. But what he was saying to me is, bro, since I've known you, you've had 4 or 5 different cars, and I'm driving the exact same car, wearing the exact same clothes, and I'm a millionaire probably 20, 30 times over, and you're in debt. And it was from that moment when he told me, I see you got a new car. It was like a light bulb went off my head. I sold my car today.
You did?
Hell yeah, I sold that motherfucking car, man. Because I knew my goal wasn't to be a fresh nigga. My goal was to be a wealthy man, wealthy black man who could change his community. I took my car to CarMax like a week later.
Oh my
I sold my car. I rented out my house. I moved back home very temporarily, and then I got a roommate after that. And within 7 years, man, I put myself in a position financially to retire. You know what I'm saying? So
blessings. Man.
You talk about that Target, right? What else have you learned going down there, like getting out your environment?
Oh, wow. Wardrobe was just the really biggest thing that stood out. Let me think. PWI.
What type of connections have you made down there?
I have made,
because you're doing some dope shit within the communications department, right?
Yes. So I actually joined this organization called AAF, which is an advertising agency. I mean, an advertising organization, and so we are connected to Austin Advertising organization. It's called AAF. I really wish I knew the name of it.
That's all good.
But I met the person who's over TikTok headquarters in in Austin. I got to shadow someone there. I also met the owner for an ad agency called Butler. He was actually a Texas State grad, and I got to go in and learn what copywriting was. I got to actually
copywriting.
What media?
Yeah.
Copywriting for like website writing, commercial
like
writing.
Scripting
Scripting, yeah. So I actually, when I went in to just go shadow him, I mean, my world opened up from PR, advertising. I was mind blown. I actually walked in on a client meeting there. I don't know if I'm able to speak on it, but they were doing. No,
don't speak on it. I don't want to put you out there. They were doing some dope shit.
They were doing some crazy stuff. I was like, whoa, this is it. Like, I just feel so honored to have have the opportunity to meet someone like that, to even be, in that area. I mean, just being able to gain that knowledge, coming where I'm come from, knowledge is everything. And so I feel so empowered to even have met these people and have them in my connect.
Let's talk about that, because one thing about this No More OGs platform is I like to dispel a lot of myths. I like to get us out of the mindset that we typically are in that keeps us pigeonholed, right?
Yeah.
And I understand, like, for years I would try to, like, mask it. I would try to make it seem like, hey, this is what I'm really doing. This is what I want you to do. And now I'm just like, man, fuck it. I'm tired of sitting back watching my people lose. I'm tired of sitting back watching. I don't believe in generational curses.
Okay.
I don't.
That's a new one.
Let's talk about it. You want to hit it? You want to hit it?
Go ahead.
I don't believe in generational curses. I believe in generational misinformation. I feel like, when you attach things to a curse, curses are really hard. Curses and spells are really hard to break when you think about it. But when you think about information is coming at us daily, and what you absorb and what you put back out there is what's going to become of you. So when you think about, like, our people, we're not going to just talk about the last 400 years of black people, because there's more to us than that, right? But let's just compartmentalize that time. We were giving a lot of bad information, and we held on to a lot of bad traditions and bad practices that we carry into today that are not applicable to the world around us, right? And so whenever I start talking to black people about, hey, go get your money, like, it's, hey, we need to go out there and buy real estate. There's no such thing as gentrification. The first thing that people pull out their ass is poverty. And my thing is, we're not poor. Black people are not poor when you think about our economy. We are a $1 trillion economy. Black people collectively have more money, pay out more money than some of these countries that are part of the United Nations.
Yeah.
It's what we're doing with the money. It's how we allocate the funds. It's teaching a 15-year-old that buying a $200 pair of shoes versus buying,
some of the stocks,
some stock, right? Or putting that money back in, instead of selling dope in the trap house, like actually going down to the city, looking at the land bank and seeing if that house is for sale because it's been abandoned for 2 years, and then buying that house for $5,000 and then renting it out to somebody for $1,000 a month is far more profitable than selling drugs, right? So we have to break that cycle of generational misinformation, Francesca. And I feel like that's something that you're doing right now, because I know one of your goals and one of your plans is to purchase a house within the next year.
Yes.
Or actually you said for your 21st birthday?
For my 22nd.
Your 22nd birthday, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, what do you think about that? Do you believe in generational curses, or do you think it's just misinformation?
I mean, after that, what you just spilled to me, I guess you are right. Like, I can't even deny it. I was ready to just get on you about it is a generational curse, but you actually explained. You got me in hush mode.
You know why we feel that way?
Yeah.
Because it's all tied to our religious practices, right? So if you start, and we're not gonna make this a religion.
It's okay.
We're not going down that rabbit hole, right? But when everything is tied to a religious principle, then the ability to question why gets it gets removed, right?
Yeah.
And if you do, then you're being blasphemous. But I always tell people, if you actually study the word that you believe in, you'll see that throughout the entire book, no matter which one it is, there's a lot of people who are called prophets who question the things that happen. And you're not punished for questioning what's happening. You're just, hey, why is this happening, right?
I don't think no one ever questioned generational curses, now that I think about it. You just said Black people do have generational curses. Like, that's just what we just always said.
Francesca, let me ask you something. All right. Can we talk about the investment? We won't go into detail.
All right. No, I'm open to it now.
So let's talk about it.
I can laugh at it.
So you invested, we'll call it $5,000 into a friend's business, right?
Yes.
That friend was on some bullshit, some hoe shit, right? And you lost your money.
Yeah.
Now, did that make you not want to invest ever again? No. You sat down and you had a conversation with me, and you had conversations with other people who talked to you about the importance of knowing that you're going to take L's in businesses, right?
Right.
I think I pulled out my phone, which I hardly ever do, and I start showing you like money that we were making from our investments.
Yeah.
And then I told you about how we lost money from the same investments, right?
Yep.
But showing you the actual money, like I think I showed you a check. And
it was just one.
It was just one. I'm a flake. I got my shades on. I'm gonna be shady. If you don't mind, do you recall what that amount was? That we got off of one of those investments.
Was it 20?
20 what?
thousand.
It was a little bit around that. It was
Or 30.
close. It was there you go. You get
Yeah, I know it was 30.
It wasn't no chump change.
No,
right?
definitely not.
Wasn't no chump change, right?
About 30K.
It was about 30, right?
Yeah.
And I just got, a lot of y'all want to see receipts and shit. I ain't gonna show y'all shit, okay? I'm gonna show it to people like Francesca and she can speak on it, right?
Yeah.
But I remember us having that conversation, and I remember I studied body language. I studied people. Mm-hmm. I remember your shoulders like just relaxing. It was like something happened. Like you were like, damn, like, and they don't lost more money than I have, and I'm just 21, and they're actually showing me what it looks like. Oh well, shit, I'm gonna be alright. Like you had this look on your face, like, well, shit, I'm gonna be alright. Yeah. But just think if you didn't have a person with the proper information showing you that you're gonna be all right.
I'm so glad you said that, Tim. I don't think I would honestly be where I'm at right now in a position to even think about buying a house if it wasn't for you giving me the information. I think your wife had said something like, "Oh, you gonna make twice as you gonna lose that." She said you gonna lose that and make it back. I said, "Oh, okay."
She said it like it wasn't shit.
Yeah,
like it was like, but she was because remember because when you were like 5, you were like I think you said 5 or 50. We were like 50 grand. It's like first thing I was like, well, damn, what is you doing?
You said, why you didn't come to me with it?
Why you didn't come to me? I started getting mad, but then you was like, no, it was $5,000. Me and my wife was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, y'all made it seem like it was nothing. I'm like, oh, this is like $5 to y'all.
It was. But let's talk about that. Let's keep it a buck. You ever notice like going to it like even you at the college that you're at, right? Mm-hmm. What we saw, me and you saw as money growing up. It ain't money. It's chump change, right?
It is.
And when you're around certain people who have a certain perception or a reality, because it is their reality, about what something is, the moment you get out of that environment and the moment you get around people who are like, that's bullshit. Like, that ain't nothing. Like a friend of mine works in banking. They used to be my banker, and now they got a huge promotion. And so they're doing like the top tier banking, right? And I'll never forget speaking to this person, and they were like, man, I sent a wire for $7 million today. And I was like, how'd that make you feel? And they were like, man, I was so afraid to send it. It ain't even my money. The biggest wire I ever sent before was like $20,000 or $30,000. And so then I talked to them like a month later, and they were like, oh yeah, I send those wires all the time. That ain't nothing. That's just a $5 million wire. I send 5 of those a week.
Wow.
But literally that first week, it was just like, oh my God, I don't want to mess this up. And now it's becoming normal that there's actually people out there who live like this. And they got the same 24 hours that we got. What the fuck are they doing different that we not? And people, and what happens is when you start having this conversation with us, you know what we start doing? Well, we start bringing up old shit. I'm a history major, so I'm all about the old shit. Well, they got a leg up and, you know, they got this and they got that. Okay, in many cases, yeah, people did earn their money off of our backs. I'm not going to deny that. White supremacy is a real thing. The system of white supremacy is a real thing. You know, systematic structural racism is a real thing. With that being said, what are we doing about it to combat it, right? If you really truly believe in a such thing as systematic white supremacy and systematic racism, why would you expect for the very people that you feel like put you in that position to come and wake up one day and just say, okay, you good, we love you, we're going to make your life better? That's crazy. So it's on us to say, no, I'm going to go around them, I'm going to get this information, I'm going to do right by, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to find someone who is willing to receive the information, keyword, so that they can apply it to their own life, because everybody don't want it.
Yeah.
Everybody don't want it.
They don't. It's not meant for everybody either.
Do you have friends that look at you some kind of way and say that you think you better because you've stepped out there and started doing things different?
I feel like a couple people back home in high school, I don't really know for sure. I can't speak on it because I have never heard anybody say anything. Yeah. But I know, like, we definitely parted ways, you know, coming back from school. I noticed that some friends will still hang around each other, you know, don't invite me. And I just kind of, you know, just get the feeling where, you know, you just kind of X out the circle because they think you're doing your own thing. Then there'll be once a time I post something that I'm doing something.
You be stunting on niggas a little bit?
Yeah.
Nah,
Wait, what you say?
I said you be stunting on niggas a little bit?
Nah, I don't try to.
I'm messing with you. But see, like, even right there, right? If somebody honestly thinks that you stunting on folks, then that's contempt.
Yeah.
Because when I see my friends doing dope shit, specifically traveling, and you've been doing a lot of traveling, I am so happy for them. I'm like, you are finally getting out of Dallas.
Yeah.
And then you come back to Dallas and be looking at Dallas like, damn, this is not as what I thought it was, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Man, that's crazy. Coming back and seeing your city in a different perspective. That was like the second month coming back from school. I was like, man, things really have changed. And I wanted to go back to what you said about money. Going into college, what I learned is that money is a tool to get what you want. The goal isn't money. The goal isn't to have what is it? Let's just say $2,000 in 20s and go down your arm like this and flex it. That's not the goal. That was our goal. We thought that was the goal.
That was our goal. That's what we were taught.
Yeah.
And we're the only ones that's taught that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But money is a tool to get what you want. Like money to buy a home and have residual income for the rest of your life and then go down to your kids. You know, things like that. I feel like I learned that money is a tool, not the end goal.
I always say it's not the money, it's what you do with it, right?
Yeah.
I was a guy buying a new car every other year, you know, and then I'll never forget when I had that whole epiphany. I bought a house, and I always speak about this one house because my thing is to people, if you buy one piece of property, Francesca, it'll change your life. I never talk about my portfolio. I never talk about shit. I done showed you, you know the game. I don't have to prove to none of y'all niggas, right? But I always tell people, one property would change your life. Me and my wife bought a house for $20,000. $20,000 in South Dallas. We sat on that house for 3 years. We didn't do anything, absolutely nothing to that house, Francesca. We gutted it out, completely like took everything out of it and just sat on it. We were going to tear it down. In 3 years of that house sitting in South Dallas with nothing done to it, the property value rose times 3.
Shut up.
Times 3.
Times 3?
Times 3. And that's doing nothing to it. Then we applied for, there was this program called Operation Knockdown. Operation Knockdown is a program in urban areas. If your city's in a crime-ridden space where there's a lot of crime and stuff, the National Guard in the city that you live in will tear your house down for free. So we applied to have the house tore down for free, and we got accepted. And then the National Guard stopped the program. So we ended up just renovating the house, and we put about altogether about $60,000, maybe $70,000. If I've told this story before, the numbers may go up and down because I always think about stuff that I've done since the last time I said it. But the house is worth nearly $200,000 now. Wow! And we're getting 100% of the rent on it. That's just one house, y'all. That's one house. So just imagine, like, you know, if you did that 20 times, or let's not even say 20. Just imagine if you did that 3 times.
3.
You're getting $1,500 a month times 3. That's $4,500 a month. That's net because the houses are paid off.
Yeah. But
no one's teaching us that. You know, when I was telling people to buy those houses, Francesca, you know what they would say?
Let me hear it.
I don't want to live in South Dallas. I don't want to live in Oak Cliff. I don't want to live in Pleasant Grove.
Closed-minded.
You don't have to live there. You don't have to live there. So, man, I feel like we're going all over the place. I feel like I'm talking to my child here. I hope I'm not sonning you when I say that. You know, I say that out of love and respect because I really admire what you're doing. So, what else you got going on? Like, you talk about, you know, the investments that you made. You talk about some of the things that you've done. What are some mistakes that you've had to learn, or some of the lessons you've learned from some of your mistakes since you've been in college?
Gosh, mistakes. That is a good one.
Say, Tim, I don't make no mistakes. I'm perfect.
I wish it was like that. I would honestly think, you know, just forcing, the only thing I can honestly think of, you know, I'm around a lot of people that want to have fun in college, and I guess I am kind of like the boring girl, kind of. I don't try to be, but most of the people I know are kind of entitled because I go to a PWI, so they're not worried about paying back tuition or anything. Thank God I don't have to pay for any tuition or anything like that. But I'm just around a lot of people. I just see me having a free way to college at a PWI. I'm like, oh snap, this is my time to like show my mama like, yeah, I'm about to do it, like, you know, the right way. Not be in debt or whatever. So honestly, it's just like really choosing the right friends, not trying to force anything, because being around people, the wrong people could kind of you know, stop you or slow you down.
Shit.
Yeah,
dive into that a little bit more.
It's best to be alone when you can't really find it. And I learned that God will send you people that you really need to be around. No rush for anything. Enjoy your own time. I know we're young. We want to get out, but you're going to find someone. Like recently, I just met a friend that was in high school. We didn't talk all through high school. The girl's super smart, honor society, everything, and she goes to UT, which is down the street 30 minutes. So we hang out every other time. We go hiking. I don't like to go to parties every weekend. Don't get me wrong, a couple probates here and there. No, just kidding.
Ain't nothing wrong with that in college.
No, but seriously, so she'll invite me to go hiking, go out for brunch, and things I actually like to do, get the most out of life, and not be blackout. Yeah. Drunk and just doing crazy stuff.
Now, if a person were to follow you, you're a lot more mature than people that are your age.
I get that a lot.
I used to get that too. Even though I was doing a lot of nigga shit, I was ahead of my peers because I went to the military, and so I had to work. All my friends were going into their second semester of college or pledging fraternities and sororities, and I was overseas in a war. You see what I'm saying? So I had to grow up super fast. So when I came back home, I felt like, and this ain't no knock to any of my partners or friends, like I felt like I was light years ahead of my friends, and that there was I couldn't relate to them on a lot of levels because they were still under the web or under the guidance of their parents, and still in positions where they were being taken care of. And I'm working a full-time job with car note, with real life shit going on, traveling, responsibilities and shit. But I want to segue into this, and I want to talk to you about the importance of not really giving a fuck of what people think about you. One thing about your generation, y'all are on the camera a lot.
Oh yeah, every minute.
But many of you all are introverted. When I talk to people, when I walk into a room with a bunch of Gen Zs, this is what y'all be doing. And like I walk in and I'm purposely like, hey, what's going on, Tim Jackson? Y'all don't know if it's the COVID shit, but people just don't know how to have a conversation. Some of the most quiet people that I see in the room, they'll follow me on social media and I go to their page and they like super loud, right? But what happens is, what I notice is that a lot of times it's them kind of putting on for people to show themselves in a different light. And, do you feel the pressure to do that as well? Being who you are, your age group, where you're at?
Do I feel, can you repeat the question?
The pressure to put on for people, like show success, show that you're not struggling, show that you got your shit together in life based on the way, society is right now. And
I'm gonna go with what J. Cole said, it's beauty in the struggle.
It's beauty in the struggle, huh?
But I ain't gonna show it. That may just be me being a Gen Z, but honestly, I do feel comfortable showing when I pass it. I don't mind going back and showing like where I made mistakes or took my L's, because obviously I grew from it. So I guess it's part of me that don't give a fuck, but part of me do, because my reputation does matter. I mean, I wouldn't post my struggle in the midst of my struggle, but I will post my struggle as motivation. And when I reach the heights that I want to go to, or reach new heights from where I was, I don't mind reflecting back on where I was or where I was struggling with, because it may connect with someone.
Man, that's dope. That's true. That's true. I do the same thing. I'm showing the ugly side of real estate, right? And so I'm showing people like, hey, it's freezing right now. This is the time where you need to be out there making sure your tenants know how to, operate the water during the freeze. Make sure you're putting, it's the maintenance that keeps people broke. It's not the product. It's always the maintenance. When you buy a new car, I'll never forget, I tell the story all the time, when a friend of mine bought a new Benz and they didn't know that, the front tires and the back tires were different sizes. So you can't rotate them. So that means you have to get a new set of tires every year.
Wait, is that it for every car?
It was for the model that she had.
Oh.
Yeah. And so she had an E-Class, and it was like the sports one. And so she had to, I never forget, I just got my Lexus, and she came to work and said, Tim, I just had to go. I got to get some brand new tires on my Benz. I'm like, brand new tires? What'd you do? You can't rotate them. They're low profiles. And I'm just like, oh, yeah, you didn't know that? She's like, no, nobody told me this shit. I got to pay like $1,200 for some new tires every fucking year.
Oh, man.
She said, I drive a lot. And I'm like, oh, well, that's an expense. That's the maintenance or the oil changes. Like, the oil change, when I bought my first Lexus, the oil change was $100. I couldn't just take it to Walmart and get that $25 special, right?
Yeah, I think you just taught me something about tires.
Yeah.
I thought you could rotate any tire.
Nah, hell no, you can't, because some of them are fatter on the back because they're sports. So that performance, you rear wheel drive, you take off, you can go fast. They're different sizes, right?
So you're saying go with the base models, cool.
I'm not saying go with the base model. I'm saying if you can afford that shit, get it. But it's the maintenance. But I try to show people the mistake because there's always somebody watching, right? I posted that I was going to go on a 10-city tour, and I posted the cities, just letting people know, hey, this is what I'm planning on doing. Man, I got so many people in my inbox like, I can't wait for you to come to St. Louis. I can't wait for you to come here. And it's because of that authenticity of being able to show people like the mistakes. And one thing I'm going to challenge you to do is I'm going to challenge you after you've gotten through that storm.
Okay.
To post more and tell more about your journey, because authenticity is much more, it's a greater currency than clout. Right?
That's true.
Because the people that's out there cloud chasing, they always fall. And then that fame they were looking for is the same thing that takes away their freedom.
Right.
That makes sense.
I'm so glad you talked about authentic, being authentic. I think I went to a PR conference earlier last month, and we were just talking about how I think Taco Bell Corporation came out, and they were just saying how they try to have the commercials to be authentic, and things like that. I think they hired like Doja Cat to be like herself and give her an honest response and just be authentic. I think that was being authentic in Gen Z is one of the greatest things you could be. I think that's what we gravitate to more of. We want people to be authentic, tell us the ugly, and then tell us what we want to hear, or show us. We want the proof. We want to know A through Z, not A. Oh, and then this how you got the
Z. I want to talk about how I met you. Well, how we began to work together.
Okay.
So I was sitting at home doing some research, and I was like, I need to get a PR person. And so I started looking at the research on it, and I was like, you know what? I want to work with somebody that I know will want it. Actually, I think I was here at this office, and I called you. You remember that call?
I do.
And I was like, hey, just think about this. I want you to consider being, my PR representative. I don't know what that is, Tim. but you were like, well, it's funny because I want to get into. I don't know how to do it, but that's something I said I wanted to do. It was like everything kind of aligned. And you spoke earlier about, when you stand still and when you allow yourself to be alone, God will send you the right people in your life. And you guys, I hired Francesca as my PR representative.
I was honored.
Y'all.
I was so honored. Tim, you don't understand how much I appreciate that call. I don't think I ever still told you. I think right then and there I was kind of going through a thing where I was just doing real estate. I pull permits out of the city of Dallas. This is not a small business I have. So I was just doing real estate, and I was like, I'm not doing nothing I want to do. Although I'm in college, I'm still not doing what I want to do. I want to be able to do PR. Man, I got that call. I was so happy.
And you did so well with it. Like within a couple of weeks, she had me booked. So I'm gonna get you to come speak at my school, man.
So many ideas.
Many ideas. Super professional. And then along the way, I was teaching you different ways. Like, okay, when you send an email, because we talked about copyright, like consider this and that, and we got to grow with each other. But I think that it's important for people to, when you see something in someone, you have to nurture that, right? I think that too often, specifically as Black people, we try to convert people into people who they're not. You know what I'm saying?
That's
like
facts.
One of my biggest, I feel like, hurdles in life was that I want everybody to win. And as a result, I spend way too much time on the wrong people. The people who have, absolutely no desire whatsoever to improve their lives, that are perfectly fine just not doing shit. And then there's somebody who actually wants to be great. That's like, damn, I want to be great. You know what I'm saying? But I'm spending so much time over here trying to make this cousin or make this best friend or make this homegirl or make this, if you're in a relationship, not in a relationship I'm in right now, but make this girlfriend or this boyfriend become somebody great, and it just ain't in them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's somebody literally sitting next to you that is going to take off and going to be something amazing, and we're not investing in them. So it was so fun. And we're not done working either, man, because 2023, I plan on doing a lot of stuff, and I plan on paying you to do a lot of stuff for me. So
all right, I'm looking
we're going to make that
forward to
happen.
it.
We're going to make that happen. But what you got in the future, man? What's coming up? I know we've been just kind of shooting the shit, but I wanted to do this this with you because I really believe in who you are. I believe that you're going to be somebody great. But more importantly, I think we need to show more people like you, people that's out there doing what they're supposed to be doing. Like, I watch your lives and your stories, and I'm like, man, this girl, you working with the ESPN crew,
Yeah.
carrying the cameras. Every time I see a basketball game now or a football game, I'm like, oh, Francesca, you know what I'm saying? Or like when they, how like during the holidays, they be like, we want to give a special shout out to our, people behind the scenes. And they show all the cameramen. I'm like, that's gonna be Francesca one day.
I keep my foot in a lot of places. I'm in a point where I don't want to limit myself. I think all through college, I know an idea of what I want to do. Well, I know exactly what I'm doing. I want to do PR. But I feel like since I have a background in sports, I kind of gravitate to doing sports because, that's like my first love.
Yeah.
That's sports. So it's part of me that don't want to let that go. So I'm just doing everything I want to do. I want to live a life with no regrets. I want to do things I want to do. Like I always said, I want to work in sports. I would love to be a woman in sports.
Okay, well, listen, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to help you live a life with no regrets, okay?
Okay.
Don't have no kids right now. Okay. No, y'all laughing and shit, but listen. This ain't no knock on nobody, okay? Everybody in my family had kids young.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So including my mother. Mm-hmm. So I'm not shitting on nobody whatsoever.
Yeah.
Kids are gonna hold you up. Black, we do not like to say that out loud.
Yeah.
Kids will hold you back.
It offends some people.
I'm gonna tell you why kids will hold you back. Because the energy and the effort that you could be putting towards building on your craft, and going places that you need to go, getting in rooms you need to get into, there's this additional dynamic of, I got to get somebody to watch my kids. Or, in many cases, a lot of people, they don't do anything because they say, well, I'll just wait till my child graduates. So a lot of people put their life on hold because they're raising kids. And kids are a blessing. Don't get it twisted. I love my children, right? I'm also glad that I didn't start having kids until late, I think my son was born when I was 27 or 28.
Okay.
And then my daughter was just born, a couple months ago, and I'm about to be in my 40s, right? But wait, put that off.
Wait, no, because I wanted to ask you. So a lot of my friends do have kids, and they're hustlers. Well, do you have any advice for those that that already have kids and that probably do have a supportive background?
Okay, that's a good question. Cause I don't want to alien. I know they're gonna watch this and be like, "Man, fuck that nigga." But
yeah, like wait a minute, we can back it
now.
up.
Yeah, shit. You know what he talking about? And I appreciate you for throwing that oop up there. Don't put anything off for your kids. Nobody's gonna tell you that. Don't put anything off for your kids. Find a way to work them into the dynamic. Even with my son William. Every time I start something new, he's there. When I go travel to speak, he's there. He comes with me. And he's typically the only kid. And everybody's like, oh my God, when I just recently did a business meeting with somebody who was bringing a huge festival to Dallas. It was me, the guy, William. You know what I'm saying? And then, the person who owns the venue, right? And William was literally sitting in between all of us. And at the end, the guy was like, he said, son, he was talking to William. He said, I don't think you realize the importance of you being in this room right now, right? Because you're learning things as a 12-year-old, he's 13 now, that some people don't learn until they're in their 30s. So if you do have kids and you did have kids young, listen, ain't nobody shitting on you. My mama had me and my sister young, okay? Don't allow that child to be a crutch to you. Don't allow that child to stop you. You take them with you. You let them see what success looks like. Even if you're not successful, you project success on them. Kids don't know that they're struggling. They don't know that you broke. They don't know that you ain't got whatever you ain't got. They know the love that you're giving them. And you have to love them as if you're already in that place where you want to be. I promise you that. Make sure that you're not raising no entitled ass, bitch ass kids either, right? You know what I'm saying? Because in my mentoring program, we get a lot of kids that come through that are entitled because their parents got it out the mud. Their parents say, I don't want my kids to struggle. No, it's okay to struggle. I say no to my son 10 times a day. 10 times a day. He gonna get a no. I want him to be immune to the word no so that he can continue to pursue the things he wants and to not allow a no to scare him. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of kids that I deal with, especially in your age group, ones that have come and worked with me, done internships, they're afraid of the word no. They feel like they should show up and just win without putting in any work, without having any trials, without having any tribulations, that they should just win. And the process is what's going to make you profitable. Mm-hmm. That's where you're going to make your money, selling that process back, selling those mistakes. I know exactly what not to do because I flipped houses and they were fucking nightmares, but I'm going to tell you exactly what not to do. Mm-hmm. And because I have that social blueprint and because I have that track record, you're going to know that you can show up and see that Tim's not going to bullshit me, right?
Yeah.
So to the parents out there, single parents, and I'm not just talking to the women, I'm talking to the men too, because it takes two, right? Be involved in that child's life, but bring them along for the process. But if you can avoid it, pull out or wrap up. You know what I'm saying? Like,
turn it into sex education.
Yeah, pull out. Listen, I'm not telling you not to go out there and get your freak on. You know what I'm saying? Like, this ain't what this is about. I'm not telling you to go out there. I know you got needs. You know, you in the prime of your life. But protect yourself and don't slow yourself down by bringing another life into the equation that's going to be dependent on you and your time. And if you do bring another life into the equation that's going to be dependent on you and your time, make sure that you include them in the process of growth and not exclude them or put off your growth until they get to high school or until they start. Well, I'm gonna wait till my kids start elementary. No, I'm gonna wait till they get into junior high. No, I'm waiting till they get to high school. Well, I'm gonna wait until they graduate. God damn, that's 20 years that's done went by.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like that's 20 years that's done went by because you waiting on that kid. And let's keep it a buck. That kid ain't thinking about your ass because as soon as that kid get grown, that kid gonna be gone.
Out the door.
Out the door. Is that a true statement?
Yeah, seriously.
And a lot of people won't say that out loud because everybody wants to be politically correct. I tell my son all the time, if I could have had you at 30 or 49, I would have because I would have been able to do a little bit more. And he laughs like, oh, come on, Dad, Dad. But truth of the matter is, you're a different person in your 30s and you're in your 20s. 21-year-old Tim was at the club fighting and shit, just doing goofy shit. 31-year-old Tim was at the house. You know what I'm saying? Sleep on New Year's, New Year's Eve, everybody's out. I'm at the house knocked out. I don't have time for that shit no more. I got a purpose to fulfill, right?
Period.
So which one do you think is going to be a better parent?
The later.
The later, because I have more resources,
Yeah.
And if you're a parent now, I'm not shitting on you. Bring the kid along with you. Teach them everything that you weren't taught without shitting on what you were taught and without making them entitled to what you're learning and what they're gaining. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Don't have no kids, dog.
I'm
gonna be mad as hell.
Oh no.
I'm joking.
Look, no, you said we got a purpose fulfill. I'm on that road.
And listen, later on in life, if you want to have kids, settle down later on in life. Listen, y'all, them people ain't going nowhere. And let me tell you what's more attractive than anything. You laughing your ass off over there. Let me tell you what's more attractive than anything.
Okay.
Success. Success is the most attractive attribute you can have in your life. You know what I'm saying?
That's facts.
That's a fact. You be sitting up looking at these dudes like, how the hell did he get her? He's successful. You understand what I'm saying? Same thing with women. Like men, we look at different women different ways. You got the thirst trap chick that's on there doing her thing.
Snapchat models.
Yeah.
Instagram models.
And then you got the lady that's like, on the news or that's what I'm talking about. Come on,
everybody like the news lady.
I mean, I'm just saying, because it's a lot of good looking women on the news, right? Or you got the woman that's out there doing what you're doing in sports. Whether because guys we watch sports, and it's like they're two different types of women. They're both valuable in their own way, but typically the fellas, They attracted to the thirst traps. Let's not get it twisted. Because we see with our eyes. Everything is with eyes.
Yeah.
But when it's time to settle down, we settling down with the other ones. Oh, that's a whole nother episode. You people gonna be mad as fuck at me, Francesca. But does that make sense?
You just being truthful, yeah.
So that more success that you get, And then when you will find somebody that aligns with you, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I can end it on this note. I worked at a Korean company, technology company, and they do everything systematically. You graduate high school, you go to the military for 2 years. You leave the military, you go to college for 4 years. You graduate college, you go home, and you move home with your parents. You get a job. You take your money, you save up all your money. And then between the time that you move home with your parents until the time that you turn 30 or 31, that's when you're saving, stacking your money, and then you're starting to get into courtships, if you will. The person that you date or get into a courtship with is typically a person that followed the exact same blueprint. You get married between 30, 33. You guys are both married. You've lived with your parents for the last 4 or 5 years. You saved 80% of your check. So now you're going into a marriage. Both of you guys, $300,000-$400,000 in the bank or $200,000 in the bank. You're going out, you're paying cash for a house. Like, you're literally starting your life with no debt, a house. Like, your shit is perfect. And then you can go out there and take more risk. And then you just recreate that blueprint. And then by a certain age, then your parents, they come and they move in with you. You become the caregivers of your parents. And it's just a regurgitated cycle over and over and over. And when you look at the wealth based on different races and different communities, there's no coincidence that we as black people always fall to the bottom because we don't have a code and we don't have a structure financially. And a lot of that is because we're babies having babies. I'm not shitting on nobody, y'all. My mom and dad, and we were born early. My wife's mom and dad, they were born early. They were, you know what I'm saying? I'm not shitting on that. I promise you I'm not. I'm not. Don't take it offense. It's all love. I'm saying, just wait 5 more years. Just 5 more motherfucking years, right? You know what I'm saying? Just, it'll change your life. But people get mad when you say that shit, man.
Yeah.
They get mad as fuck.
You're just trying to just spit it to him.
Why he judging me?
No, but that's why you got to tell him, what you can do if that already happened. Or
you can do that, man. And if you've already had the baby, bring that child along with you. Don't use him as a crutch. William, we just found he has a name tag that says William Jackson, marketing manager.
Aww.
And I got him the tag when he was like 6 years old. And he would wear that name tag everywhere. And he would carry my business cards. So we would go to the mall. We go place. He walk up, "Hi, I'm William Jackson. My dad is Tim Jackson. He owns a real estate company." Aww. And people, "Oh my God, he's so cute." People love kids. Like,
so I was just about to say, so you told him to put that kid to work.
Put that little motherfucker to work.
Oh my God.
No, seriously though, because they're there, right? You're paying. He got paid.
Oh, okay.
He has his own bank account and everything.
What?
Yeah. William got his own check card and everything. Let me see. I'm gonna leave the camera on you, but I'm gonna show it. over here. William has his own card and everything. Yeah. You see it? Yeah. He hit me up the other day.
That's what's up.
He was like, we went somewhere. He was like, "Dad, can I see how much money I have in my account?" I said, "Well, I haven't paid you from this and this, so let me send you some money." So I paid him when he said, "Okay, well, you mind if I get this and that?" And now he knows that, you only spend 10% of your money on fun shit, on leisure shit.
That.
You know what I'm saying?
I
So
love that.
if you make $100, you only spend $10 on bullshit. So the goal is to make $1,000, so you can spend $100, or to make $10,000. You know what I'm saying? But don't spend all your money on M&Ms and shit. You know what I'm saying? So I'm training him. I brought him along with me, man.
Yeah.
And you can do that too.
Man.
I'm talking so much.
I'm excited to see what William turns out to be, man, with that type of structure.
William better not grow up to be no hoe ass nigga, man. I tell him that all the time. Do not grow. I'm up here talking all this shit. You better not grow up to be no hoe ass nigga, man. When he be doing stupid shit, I be like, "Damn, don't grow up to be no hoe ass nigga, man." He be like, "Oh, Dad, I'm not. I promise you, I'm gonna do better." Now he gonna be alright. He's ahead of the game. He's like any other kid. He's gonna make mistakes.
Yeah.
He's going to, and I'm going to be there for him when he falls. He's going to make mistakes. He's gonna do some stupid shit. He's gonna do exactly what I tell him not to do, and that's cool. I'm okay with that. As long as he has the foundation of what to do, that's all I can ask for. Does that make sense?
Just like that.
It's straight like that.
I can lay down on the foundation. He got to build it you and him, brick by brick.
Shit, you a basketball girl. I can throw that alley oop up. It's up to you to catch it and slam it. You know what I'm saying? Francesca, where can they find you at?
You can find me on social media, Instagram at IAM_Francesca with 3 A's. That's spelled FRANCHESCAAA.
Okay. And last thing I'm going to ask you, what I always ask people. Now, you're only 22, so if you can go back, we'll just say 3 years. to your 19th, let's say 18th birthday.
Oh, wow.
If you can go back to your 18th birthday and you can show up as who you are right now and give 18-year-old Francesca some advice based on the life that you've lived and what you've experienced since then, what would you tell her?
Wow. I was already motivated then. I would just honestly say, don't care what everybody else think. Don't try to play the part. Just be yourself authentically. I was always told that I was corny or something like that. Just be yourself. Be yourself. You don't have to be someone you're not. Just show up and be yourself, girl.
Okay. And on that note, we're going to get out of here. You guys, we got to keep having more conversations like this. This is the home of no celebrity endorsements. I don't want to talk to no celebrities. I want to talk to people that's going to be celebrities. The people that I bring on the show are people that's going to change this world and they're going to change this culture. But I'm not paying any blue check nigga to come on here to sell us a bunch of bullshit. We don't want to hear them stories from the 90s and the early 2000s about you fighting in the club. We want to talk about real, authentic things that we're going through. It's time to stop living in silence or suffering in silence. It's time to stop suffering in secrets. It's time to stop just doing goofy shit that's not getting us anywhere and start having authentic conversations. So be sure to like, subscribe, follow. Make sure you follow her on social media. You guys, this is the No More OGs podcast. I'm your host, Tim Jackson. I will see you soon. Peace.